Here we go. Ready for some cooking? Today, I've got beef cheeks. This is the side I gotta trim, but this is what they look like. People always ask me, what is beef cheeks? They always think it's from the other end of the cow, but it's actually their cheeks. So we're gonna do a slow cook. So I'm starting out today early again this morning. Well, it's not early, but it's before my day has started actually, to try to get these things started because we're doing the slow cook crock pot. So I'm going to start with trimming these because you need to trim a little bit. This is more like a that silver skin kind of thing that you want to get off of here because it'll be chewy. But I don't want to get, I love the fat. I don't always hate to trim it, but apparently this is it's not easy to chew. And I don't even know if this is the right knife for it. I don't have good knives. That ain't working. All right, this is what it looks like. I got the one off. I didn't want to put you through watching me do that, but that's the that skin, the outer thing. So we just got the meat on both sides now. So I'm going to work on this one, and then I guess I can toss this. I don't think that's worth saving. Okay, we've got both of them trimmed. Here's what they look like trimmed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of, just a little bit of olive oil on here. Just a little drip, and then we'll brush it so it's just a little thin. Layer. Then we're going to salt and pepper it and put it in a little bit of pork panko because we're going to brown these on the stove. First, and then we throw it in the crock pot. All right, so we got the oil on there. Oh. And I don't know if that's too low, but I'm trying to get this in the scene. All right, we're gonna salt and pepper it. Redmond real salt, as usual. Oh, I also put the pepper on while I got that side. Messy. All right, we got salt and pepper. We're just gonna do just a light coating of this just to have something for the, I don't know. Well, the recipe actually that I was looking at, I always look at I don't always, but if I'm cooking something that I'm not wholly familiar with, I will look up a recipe and then just for suggestions, just so I don't totally screw it up. So this one called for dusting it with flour, which I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to bring you over so you can watch here. Okay, here we got the old trusty cast iron warming up. I'm going to put a little bit of the grass-fed ghee. There's a big glare on it, you can't read it. Put that in the pan. Bring it back up to temperature. I backed it down a little because it took longer than I thought to trim that. And we're just browning the outside of these things. It's getting a little warm. There we go. I bought this new little wireless mic system, which works good. It sounds good on that last video I did. But I also bought a lavalier mic, which finally came yesterday. So I plugged it in this morning, and it's like nothing. I don't know what's wrong with it. I don't know if it's broken or if it's just, I don't know. It should work. There's a little plug on here for it, but all right, here we go. We got the beef cheeks, and we're gonna brown them in this skillet. Make sure that's hot. It looks good. I guess we'll find out. Oh yeah, it sounds good. All right. And I also have something I forgot to thaw out, frozen bone broth that I will add to the crock-pot when we put it in. So I'm going to go ahead and keep trying to de-thaw this stuff. Or thaw. So we're going to let this go and see what happens. Smells good. Get this out. Never. Always make a mess. They're not sizzling as loudly on this side. Let me show you a close-up or an overhead view. Yeah, these slow cooker recipes and the smoker recipes, the ones that take all day, I always have to figure out how I'm going to do it with my whole workout routine, trying to get up, and because I have to get it started and then go do that thing and then come back. And this morning I got up and it was like I had to take a shower first, so I was so greasy. So now I gotta go do a workout after I've already taken a shower, but oh well. That's what happens trying to make these videos. Alright, I'm gonna stand these up on the end. Get the ends. They look pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and toss them in. I've got this thing warming up. The only thing I don't have is liquid in there yet, but I do have, this is the old leftover meatloaf that I froze, and it's got a bunch of fat and stuff in there that I'm gonna use in the crock pot. Like all this kind of, it's like fat and juice. It's all frozen right now, but we're gonna throw that in there for flavor. That's why I never skim all my fat or anything. I always use it. All right, between that and the bone broth, when that eventually thaws. All right, let's go. Pull this off. I'm going to put some of this in here. I'm going to use this in here. Okay, so the only thing I got to do is add the bone broth, which just there's some in there. Go ahead and dump some of that in. Yeah, I should probably thaw that out. I'm trying to dump the frozen in there. Oh, that might work. Let me see. All right, now I'm gonna add a little bit of warm water and let that thing go. It's gotta go for about 3.5 hours, so I'm gonna be eating late today. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be back. Okay, I just wanted to show you. I got the hot water, and I'm gonna add a scoop of this too. This is that powdered bone broth by Jarro Formulas. It's just to add a little bit more flavor. I know there's like real bone broth in there, but instead of just adding just plain water, this is kind of like flavored water. So that's what we're doing here. So it's just bone broth flavored water. So we're gonna add that to the crock pot. And there we go. I'm gonna turn it up to, actually it's on low. It's gonna go on low for 3.5 hours, but I'm gonna crank it to high just for a few minutes to to start, to boil, and then I'll back it down. And then I'll return when it's done. Okay, the beef cheeks are done in the crock pot. They're sort of on low now, just sitting there. And I got everything else ready. I've got, oh, and there's a thunderstorm raging out there. Hopefully my lights won't go out in the middle of this. So I got bacon here that I'm going to chop up. I'm making, I'm going to make one of the big Belgian chaffles. So I'm going to try something slightly different. I'm going to put the bacon in the chaffle. And then we're going to put the beef cheeks on top, of course. And then I'm going to make poached eggs. Poached duck eggs. All right, let me stir this. We got the old whisk. A couple things I forgot to prepare. Okay, we got the Redmond's sea salt. Do a couple of twists. Cinnamon. And nutmeg. Vanilla. Just a dash. Push those out of view. And we have the melted butter, and these are actually store-bought eggs, the free range. Still good eggs for store-bought. All right, I'm gonna throw this bacon in there. Mix it in. And then we got the old Robusto cheese. Yeah, I don't want to dump too much. And we're only making one. This is, I discovered the last time that 2 eggs is perfect for one big one. One big chaffle, I should say. Just a little bit more. We need it a little bit thicker. We don't want it running all over the place when I dump it in there. There we go. And also, after I turned the camera off and I had this going, I added a couple things. I put a dash of apple cider vinegar, the liquid smoke, and I think that's it. If I think of something else, I'll let you know. But I think that was it. All right, now we're ready for the chaffle. I am going to, well, you've seen me do chaffles. I'm just gonna dump it in. You don't have to get a close up of this. Can you see me way over here? I can't tell. I got that wide angle lens and it covers up half my camera. I can't see what's going on. Okay. Now, before I put that in, we're going to do the old Parmesan on the waffle maker. You can hear it sizzling. Okay. Now we're going to dump some mix, the egg mix in. Actually, all of it, because we want one big one. One big fat one with bacon. Big fat chaffle. There we go. And then we put a little bit more Parmesan on top. Boop. Close the lid. There we go. Now, while that's going, let me turn this up. Actually, let me put this on high for a second, just to get it boiling. I've got my duck eggs over here. I'm trying to think of the best view for you to see. You've seen me poach eggs before. You know what I strain them in the in one of these little strainers first to get the excess fluid out, so it's just the nice solid whites in the yolk, so that it doesn't explode all over the water when I dump it in. All right, there's not a whole lot in that one. Must be super fresh. Can you see the steam coming out that thing? The old spoon with the holes in it. All right, this thing's almost ready here to dump the eggs. I made the bacon and it had a bunch of good fat, so I poured it in my little fat saver bottle. Bacon fat. Okay, here we go for the eggs. Back that down. All right. Here we go. Now we're ready. All right, dump that in. I know I'm far away. I should put the, now that I've got the stuff on the stove, let's bring this over. So you can see. And this one's ready to flip, I think. I may try to make like a little gravy-ish stuff to pour on top with the juice. There's a lot of juice in there. All right. There we go. We'll get rid of this. Can you see my mess over there? This is that little, I was telling you about this earlier, the little mic I bought that doesn't work. I don't know why, it just doesn't work. So, I'm gonna pull this back over and we're gonna turn it on low. Actually, you know what? We still got this hot, so let's take it over here. And that's still steaming a little bit. It's almost done though. Yeah, I got my plate. This morning when I was starting this thing out, and I'm like, you know, just stumbling around trying to talk, I realize it's because I'm winging it, and I'm trying to talk while I'm thinking at the same time, like trying to, because I didn't even have all this planned this morning when I was throwing the stuff in the crock-pot. This sort of came together after the fact. I thought about it, but Yeah, so sometimes if I seem a little spacey, and it's because I'm trying to think one step ahead, because I'm usually one step behind. I'm gonna check this thing. Oh, that looks perfect. I always keep this thing full blast. And that light's been going on and off. So I think I've gone through that before, explaining that I don't go by the light. The only time I pay attention to the light is to know when it's hot enough before I pour the stuff in. But as far as doneness, it's based on the steam. Check that out. Can you see that thing? Perfect chaffle. This is the Belgian chaffle. The plate size. Okay, now I can turn that off. Let it cool. Now what are we gonna do? We're gonna get the meat out. This is what it looks like. I'm going to break it up a little bit. Let's go back over here. Need a better working surface. Should I break it on the chaffle, or where's these things? Let's put it on here. Let's put it on there and see how these things break apart. I'll just use a fork. Look how tender that is. Ooh, check that out. See, people are grossed out by beef cheeks, but look at that. It is so fall apart tender. Hope I didn't steam up the lens. There's some steam coming off that thing. Okay, we're just gonna sort of break them up a little and then put them back on the chaffle. Yes. Work. I'll show you each step of the way. Look at that. All right. We got that chopped up. Now here's the next step. We have this pan sort of heating. I am going to take some a little bit of liquid out of there. Put it in this pan. That might be enough. We're just going to do a little bit. Okay. Got a little bit of Parmesan grated. Where's that thing? I'm gonna put a little of this in the liquid. Just to sort of thicken it up a little. And the other thing I'm gonna add, just a little bit of pork panko. As a thickener. If I had some heavy cream, I could make this really cool sauce. But you know what? I'm gonna try just a little bit of that butter. This is that raw cream butter. Look at the color on that. Oh, you can't see it. It's blown out. There, you can see it. Such a nice, rich yellow. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this in there. You could eat this with a spoon, it's so good. All right. Okay, now we're just gonna pour this over. Oh yeah. This is a heavy pan. It's hard to hold with one hand and scrape. So this is it's like our gravy. Next we got the poached eggs. The old smoked paprika. The perfect garnish. Now, this is what it looks like before I slice the poached eggs. But we'll get a picture of that afterwards. Voila! One thing I always forget, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up and then click on that little subscribe that's, I think it's in that corner when you're watching. It's the lower right-hand corner. Okay, I just wanted to show it to you. Show it to you on a fork. That is melt in your mouth delicious.